Hey guys, welcome back to the Free Time Podcast. Today I'll be giving you my picks for the best 11 of all time. Starting off at goalkeeper, we have none other than Lev Yashin. So, he was tall, he was athletic, he made acrobatic saves, and on top of that, he changed the way goalkeepers played the game. He would come out of his net, something that many goalkeepers at that time wouldn't do, to cut off angles to make it hard for opponents to score. He also had lethal distribution, something that many goalkeepers didn't have at that day and age. He could start a counterattack, either through throwing it or off a quick kick, and off his goal kicks. He was fantastic. On top of that, I mean, if we're looking at just some of the numbers, some of the statistics, he made 150 saves on penalties, which is just unheard of in today's game, and I think had roughly 270 clean sheets, another insane statistic. Also, he is the only goalkeeper to ever win the Ballon d'Or, which is a big thing on his resume because no one else has been able to do it. Neuer came close, but still was not able to do it. Finally, he was named, I think, Goalkeeper of the Year in Europe 9 times. So I think if you put together the statistics along with just what we've seen from his film, the limited film there is, but of his acrobatic saves, the way he revolutionized the game, I think he has to be our goalkeeper. Moving over to left back, we have none other than Paolo Maldini, and he was a fantastic player, right? A fantastic defender, praised by Zlatan, who hardly ever praises anyone as being one of the best defenders he ever played against. But also on top of this fantastic defense that he had, his positioning, his awareness, and also last-ditch tackles that were just fantastic, slide tackles that were world class, he was also very good going forward, praised by Ronaldinho as someone who looks like they could play in the midfield because he was so good on the ball. He would make overlapping runs, get crosses in the box, but then defensively had the awareness and the positioning to stop some really good players, and then could also go 1v1 against the best, making even the best players at the time look average. So Maldini has to be in there with me. I think some of the things he achieved with AC Milan too were fantastic. 7 Serie A titles, 5 Champions League wins, and it's just insane what he achieved there. And I think he was also finalist for the Ballon d'Or 2 times, which just shows for a defender, for a left back, I mean, that's unheard of. So he has to be in the side. Moving over to the center back position, we have none other than Franz Beckenbauer. And he's going to be my first center back on this list, and he was special. So Beckenbauer was credited with making the sweeper position, and he popularized it. He made it a position that in football was very big for a long period of time. And he relied on his pace, his strength, his tackling ability, but on top of that, he would drop deep, receive the ball, and dribble it up the field because he used to play as a winger at the youth level and then transition to center back. So he was fantastic on the ball, and a lot of attacks started from Beckenbauer's feet because he would dribble, do a little 1-2, or get involved in the attack and would push up into that holding mid position. So he was more than just a defender, but I mean, in terms of a sweeper, he was class because he just stopped every attack. I mean, if the ball was played in behind, Beckenbauer was there, either with pace or with a body and a fantastically timed tackle. In terms of achievements, 2 Ballon d'Ors, which is class from a center back. Also, a World Cup winner, a Euro winner, and a 5-time German champion and a 3-time Champions League champion. So not only was he a fantastic player praised by his peers, not only for his individual ability, but also was able to take his teams and help them achieve the biggest things in the world of football. Our other center back on this list is Bobby Moore, right? He wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, wasn't the best in the air, but what did Moore have? He had a tactical mindset that not many players have. Like, he had fantastic positioning, fantastic awareness, was a great tackler. Like, he was always in the right place at the right time. He could read the game before stuff had even been played out, which is just amazing. He also was a big player in West Ham's glory days, something they haven't seen since. So he was a key component in that. Also led England to a 1996 World Cup win, which they haven't done since. And Moore was the key component. Like, he was arguably that best player in that side. And he's been praised since from Pele as the best player that he's ever played against, best defender. So that's coming from Pele, that is legendary. Let me also add, he did win FA Cup with West Ham, something they've only done, I believe, 3 times. So although he wasn't necessarily on the best club, he was still able to contribute to winning both with England and also with West Ham. At right back, this was a very difficult one. We have Cafu. And I mean, if we're just talking about, in my opinion, the most well-rounded defender at right back position, it's got to be him, right? There's arguments for others, but I think he's the best all around because he was so dynamic. He was a fantastic 1v1 player. He was so disciplined, very composed on the ball. But once he won that ball back and started to play out, I mean, he could get up the pitch, overlapping runs for days, getting crosses into the box. He was absolutely lethal and problematic and has shaped the way players like Dani Alves play today. He really revolutionized that right back position. In terms of achievements, he did a ton as well. 2 World Cup wins with Brazil, 2 Copa America wins with Brazil, a Champions League title, and then also 2 Serie A titles. So, I mean, he definitely affected winning because everywhere he went, they won some sort of award. So, Cafu for me has to be the right back. At the CDM or 6, I have none other than Lothar Matthäus. And wow, he is one of the most versatile midfielders of all time because he could either play as a sweeper in the back line or could also play as a box-to-box mid. And what allowed him to get around the pitch so well was his pace and stamina. Like, he could get everywhere on the pitch. He was also versatile in terms of what he could do. I mean, he could dribble the ball, wasn't the most flashy player, but could take on, in certain circumstances, could go after 3 or 4 players. But he also had fantastic passing range. He could spray passes 40, 50 yards, pinpoint accuracy. He also had fantastic shooting range from outside the box. Could hit the back of the net, with pinpoint accuracy from 20, 30 yards out. So he was just all around such a good player. And Diego Maradona said it himself, his best rival ever, coming from another great. So I think Matthäus has to be my 6 or my CDM in terms of achievements. Won the World Cup, won a Ballon d'Or, won the Euros, 7 German championships, 1 Serie A title. So he, again, someone who affected winning, won a Ballon d'Or, recognized as the best in the game one season. You can't have him not on this list. Playing as an attacking mid in this formation as an 8, a little more box to box than I would like, is Zinedine Zidane. And I mean, I had to figure out a way to get him in this side because he was one of the best of all time in my opinion. And I mean, he could control the game like no other. Him on the ball was just special. The way he could move, he could get himself in between the ball and his opponents. So it was almost untouchable. He was unstoppable dribbling wise. He also, another player like Matthäus, had pinpoint accuracy from range, could pick out a pass from 40 yards away. Also Zidane, fantastic one-touch finishing. If you're looking at some of the balls played into him off a cross, the volleys he hit, I mean, he could score from anywhere in and around the box. So that was really special about him as well. And he is regarded by so many players in his era. I think Beckham said he was the greatest of all time in his opinion. And I wouldn't go there, but there's definitely a case for it. Because Zidane, although he scored a ton, he was a playmaker. That's truly what Zidane was. I mean, he would get into dangerous areas in the final third and could slip very precise, very accurate balls in behind, and could, with his dribbling ability, could take players out of positions and then play the ball through there to a player running on. And that really is what made Zidane so great. So he won the Ballon d'Or. He won the World Cup. He won the Euros. He won the Champions League. He had one Spanish title, one La Liga title, and also had 2 Serie A titles. So again, he won, but he was also individually great as well. And I think that's a sign of one of the greatest of all time and someone who should be in this team. Playing the 10 or my other attacking midfielders has to be Diego Maradona. I mean, we are talking about the best dribbler of the football, in my opinion. And he was so creative out there. Like, he can make something out of nothing. And it was insane. Also, very underrated for his passing ability because he threw so many players off, like I was talking about with Zidane. He could draw the attention of 3 or 4 and then slip a dangerous ball in behind. Fantastic crosser, great on set pieces, great on free kicks, like could score from many places on the pitch. and I think is honestly underrated by many people today, because the way he dribbles, his acceleration, his low gravity type dribbling is very similar to Lionel Messi, and I would compare the two in that aspect. In terms of achievements, we're talking 4-time Footballer of the Year, 1-time World Cup winner, 2-time Italian champion. Like he won wherever he went. I mean, Argentina will be forever grateful for that World Cup he was able to bring them, and something that Messi has been highly criticized for not doing. So Maradona, I mean, he's one of the greatest, in my opinion, in the top 3 all time. Has to be in this side. My left winger in this formation is none other than Johan Cruyff, a player with a knack for creativity. In the final third, a great passer, but could also go to goal as well. He also, I mean, in terms of dribbling, had some very good skills. You may be familiar with the Cruyff turn, done first by Johan Cruyff. Makes sense, right? Fantastic body feints as well. It was very deceptive dribbling. But something that I think people don't talk about enough is his movement off the ball. I mean, it was sensational and really encapsulates the idea he has of total football, which is fluid flowing football where people move into positions that have been vacated by their teammates. And his playing style, it's clear where that idea came from. And also, I just want to add, I mean, achievements-wise, he was fantastic. 3 Ballon d'Or wins, 3 Champions League titles, La Liga title, and then finally, 9 Dutch League titles. Wow, that is just fantastic and shows another player who wherever he went, he won. As my right winger, I have Lionel Messi. In my opinion, the GOAT. I mean, we are talking a man who has changed the way we look at football. His dribbling, like I said, similar to Maradona, low gravity, low center of gravity, just absolutely weaving in and out of players, can take on 4 or 5, 6 players. We've seen it before. Now, on top of that, I think people often underestimate his playmaking ability, right? He's so creative in the final third. The way he can make passes, which are so deceptive. He can like mask those passes with the way he looks, or even body feints. Like, he is really good in the final third, really creative passing, and hardly ever gives the ball away. And finally, on top of all that, right, a lot of the players, they've been super good playmakers or super good goal scorers. Well, Messi is both. One of the greatest goal scorers of all time. I mean, it's undeniable. With the amount of goals he's scored and the amount of matches he's scored, you have to say, you can't deny it. And I think if we look at goals and assists, like, is there any other player who's been good at both goal scoring and assisting as Messi and just playing? I don't think so, in my opinion. Looking at achievements, also best and most achievements on this list. We're talking 6 Ballon d'Ors, 10 La Liga titles, and then also 4 Champions Leagues titles. So, I mean, achievements-wise, just from what we can see by watching him, we may be biased because we're living in this era. My opinion, the greatest player of all time. Finally, my striker, Pele. I mean, I would be an idiot if I didn't have him in the side. He transcended football as we know it today. And if we're looking at him, I mean, electric pace, but also powerful shot on both feet. Really good with both feet. Super powerful shot. Very deceptive with the ball. I mean, feints, stops, changes directions to throw players off and get in behind. And a goal scorer like no other. Like, he is the true and pure definition of a goal scorer. But that said, he was very good, like creating for other players, and I think that's something that people often underrate about him. I think Pele, though, on top of just his aura and the way, like I said, he transcended football as we know it, I think it's really important to add that achievements-wise, like some of the stuff he did just for his country was fantastic. We're talking 3 World Cups, and then also 6 Brazilian League titles. So the World Cups, I mean, are just sensational and something that I don't think any other player has really been able to achieve. So we have to give him major props for that. And I mean, people will be like, oh, it's just the aura of Pele. It's just the history that you're looking into here. No, go back on YouTube, watch some of this guy's highlights. I mean, he was special. He saw the game like other players couldn't. And on top of that, you had technical ability, skill, tactical ability. I mean, it was all together. And the acrobatic style which he played in is like what makes people enjoy the game so much today. Anyways, this is my greatest 11 of all time. Please let me know in the comments your greatest 11 of all time. I do really want to know where I got it right, where I got it wrong. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. We just passed 2,000 subscribers, so also please hit that sub button. We're aiming for 5,000 by the end of the year. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. Peace.